Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Devlog series on my online wizard game where you and friends can gather together, use a whole variety of wacky spells and clear out dungeons together. In this devlog I'll be talking about the steps I took before going on to the next milestone for the game, which is the big spell overhaul to rework that whole system. Talking about milestones, I thought it'd be cool to just quickly explain how the milestones for the games work and how I'm planning on doing devlogs. For me, milestones are like kind of bigger tasks that are broken down into their own individual branches almost, which is also how I use it for version control, because I'll have the online co-op branch, which I've been doing for when I've been working on Riptide. And the next milestone I'll be working on is a spell overhaul, because spells right now do not work very well, and they're really difficult to add more functionality, so the plan is to redo that whole system completely almost, and make spells feel really good. I'm not planning on doing a video per milestone, because I think that'll take too long to make videos. So it'll probably be more videos of just every now and then in a milestone I will showcase a video for it when there's something big to show off, or maybe just every few weeks I'll just kind of wrap up what I've done the past few weeks. That kind of style is a little bit harder to do with my current lifestyle, where I don't always work on the game and I don't get much time to work on the game, but I'll see as I go on what I am thinking of doing with it. And as you can see, there's a few milestones there already. There's spell overhaul, player customization, the art pass, then there's another playtest, and then we'll have garbage collection, which is my kind of way of saying just going to go through scripts and assets which I don't use anymore and just yoink them out. And there's making the Steam page, and then the second online pass. And more milestones will probably get added to that as time goes on. I think actually I need to have a big rework of this system, or this whole thing needs to be added. Like there'll probably be a whole UI milestone or something coming in the future. But for now, this is a really good basic roadmap of how the game's going to go. So after finishing the online milestone, I then was kind of going, do I go on to the next one, or do I look at my huge bug list and go through them? Now, I don't actually think I have a picture of the bug list, but it was big. There were a lot of bugs that I kept adding to it and not really fixing or kind of categorizing properly. I just kind of said, this is a bug and I need to fix this. The way I did the bugs was on stream. I'll just kind of take a few at a time that I thought I could do in the time I had and just work on them. And some were super quick and some took longer than others. And I thought I'd just talk briefly about some of the bugs I fixed and why they were fun. Two main bugs I had with the enemies. One, the cultist would still cast spells when he died, and that was a really interesting spell because it led me to creating a way to interrupt spells, which wasn't a thing I had before, but now spells can be interrupted, which is super important, and I use it for the players as well quite a lot. The golem wouldn't do melee properly, he wouldn't punch at the right time, which led me to learn more about animation events, because now I know how to use them. I kind of trigger punches at certain times in animation rather than straight away. So when the fist is there, that's when we trigger to turn on the colliders, do damage, and also when we play the sound to do for the punch, which makes the golem work a lot better. There are a few other issues I had with the online set of things where you could join a game in progress, or you could get stuck in the lobby if you timed out, which led me to create game states. So the game currently has not started, in lobby, playing. And if someone tries to join a game that's playing, they'll kind of join and then they'll immediately get booted out because I don't have a system set up to join a game in progress. And that might change. Maybe I will have a system for that in the future, but currently that's not really what I want. I want it to be, if you try to join a game in progress, you're out, you're not in. And that worked really well, and I was super happy to see how that would work. And I also added things to check if someone gets timed out in a lobby, they'll just go straight back to the main menu, which wasn't happening before, but now it's fine. It should be fine anyway. I need to check. I need to check that more. A lot of the other bugs then kind of fell into a thing of, well, if I fix this now, this kind of steps onto a milestone and quite a big system change. One of the things was the spells don't fully work, and for other clients, they work fine for the client who casts it, but other clients might not always see the intended effects of the spell. And I was going to fix that, but then I kind of realised, well, that's more part of the spell overhaul milestone, so why would I fix that now when it's going to incorporate such a big change, or when other changes might fix it for me? So with some of the bugs, I kind of put them into milestones, which I think is a better way of just rather than just fixing them all outright, especially when they might have a change that fixes it for me or makes it easier to fix. They're all part of the milestone, so that way I know here's a bug that I have for this, but I need to fix it, maybe with all this other stuff that I'm doing, which I think is a smart system. It might not be. One of the other biggest issues I've been having with the game currently was input issues and the controller. For some reason the controller wasn't working, and then the controller for the UI wasn't working. The controller not working was due to the Steam ID I was using. I didn't realise I had to use a specific test ID to use controller, which I think is a bit weird. I need to double check if that's still the case, but it was a weird one. But then I got controller working, which was great. However, I could not for the life of me get my controller cursor to work anymore. I had a whole system set up for that and it was just really annoying me, and then the other thing I couldn't do was swap between keyboard and controller, which I had been able to do fine, but for some reason I just could not do it. And I was kind of racking my head around this, and I decided to use an asset basically, which I don't really tend to do, but I do kind of preach that you should in some cases, and the asset I'm using is Rewired. It's a fantastic input solution for Unity that was made, and it works so well. It has stuff for controller UI, swapping control schemes easily. It kind of had all the answers I was looking for, and I used that, bought the asset, and it works fantastically. So I kind of spent a good while just changing the input, resetting that up. It also invited me to change up how the spell controller works a little bit and just make it a little bit more flexible. And I was super happy. I even have a system where if you want to use like your big spell, like your third attack spell, you have to hold a double key down if you're on controller, which I think looks really cool and feels much better, because now it's like left triggers one spell, right triggers the other spell, and you have to hold down both bumpers to use your final spell, which to me feels really good. But yeah, Rewired is a really fantastic solution, honestly, and if you're not using it and you're kind of struggling with Unity's input system, even though I do like it, the new input system is much better than the old one, in my opinion. If you're not super happy with it, Rewired is definitely something I would check out. There's a free trial you can get on the website, which I was using for a while, and it works really well. It has all the same functionality as the full version. It is just you get timed out from input after a few minutes, I believe. Really good system. The controller cursor especially was super nice to have it just kind of almost set up for me basically. Just had to do a few extra things to make sure everything worked. So yeah, I'd highly recommend using Rewired if you're struggling with Unity's input systems. And also the documentation for it, let me just say, has everything you'd ever need to know. If you're struggling with something, you just kind of Google it or look at the documentation. There'll probably be an FAQ for what you're wondering, or you'll be able to find an answer to what you're looking for almost straight away. After I finished fixing the bugs, there was also another category I have called things to change, which isn't not really a bug and it's not really a milestone. It's kind of the in-between of just little things that need to be tweaked or changed. And that list was looking big. It still looks really big actually, to be honest. It could probably be spread out a bit more. But one of the things I wanted to change on it was how enemy spawning worked. I'm still not super happy with that system at all. I think the last time I shared it on Twitter, someone suggested I could just have it. So I kind of have like a spawn function, and I just call it however many times I need for however many enemies. And that spawn function will pick a random spawner to use and spawn an enemy from it, which I thought made more sense rather than how I was doing it, because my current solution, the first spawner, if I could spawn 5 enemies, the first spawner would spawn 2, the second spawner would spawn 2, and the last one would spawn 1. And that would never change, it'd always be in that order. So in this new system, it could be the first one spawns 1 enemy, or it spawns 0 enemies, and it's random each time, which feels a lot better. And it caused a lot of headaches. One of the things I always get with the spawning solution, especially with the online stuff, is it always spawns too many for the client, because I'm not thinking about how it works properly. So it took a lot of tweaks, and I eventually got it working how I wanted it to be, and in this system of just kind of saying, I want to spawn 5 enemies, pick a random spawner and use them. And I think other changes will need to happen to it eventually, because I think it's just still too complicated for what I needed to do. And I definitely need to clean out as well. Like I added a lot of stuff that I'm probably not using, so they could probably just get yoinked away and just taken out. But that's for another day when I kind of do more cleaning up of the code base. But this rework was really good as well, because it also allowed me to change how it worked and simplify a lot of the code, because before I have kind of like a wave spawner mode and a direct spawn where it just spawns X amount of enemies. The type of game mode I was on didn't really matter anymore. I could just say, okay, spawn this many enemies and do this, and that was it. So it works really well now. I pretty much covered everything for the devlog, so I thought I'd just go into some personal life things for you all. So in the last video, which was almost like 2 months ago now, I did mention I was doing a talk at my university, which went really well. I kind of ran over the time I had, which I didn't realise I was going to do, and I definitely didn't expect to, but it was a really fun talk, and I heard the students who were there really enjoyed it too. I should have a video of it soon, so when I do, I'll be posting about it probably in Discord, so you should join the Discord if you want to see the talk. But following that, I also went to my first gaming game dev event the other week, which was WASD in London, where I met 2 fellow dev tubers by Matt Bull and BlankDev. Matt's working on Slap It Together, which is like a zombie online Left 4 Dead style fun cartoony looking game, and BlankDev, who's working on like a minimalistic platformer type game, which looks super nice. For my first type of event like that, it was a lot of fun, honestly, and meeting people who I've spoken to online before but not really seen was a really fun experience. I'm hoping to do it more in the coming years as well, for sure. And the final thing that I've been doing in personal life is learning the piano. I just thought I'd throw that in. I've had a small MIDI keyboard for a little while now. I think it's like 32 keys, but it wasn't really like helping me learn anymore, so I decided to spend a bit more money and get a 61 key keyboard. And I've been trying to do practice for it like every day since I've got it, and it's been a lot of fun to do, honestly. I feel like I can see myself improving and learning more, and I'm hoping to be able to use the skills in my game dev journey and just in personal life, because it's always been one of my bucket lists to like learn the piano. But that's pretty much it. Thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate if you stuck it out and waited these like 2 months. I said I was trying to get a video out every month and I did not. I really appreciate it. The next few videos should be more interesting, I hope, where I kind of can actually get some more functionality in the game and start showing that off more, which I'm really hoping to do. It's just hard with kind of working and then coming back and then not really having time to do game dev always. But we'll see how it goes. But besides that, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all having a nice day. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.